There's only one thing better than keto lasagna that uses fathead dough, which is way too much saturated fat, at least for me, or a zucchini or eggplant for the noodles, pretending to be noodles when it's just vegetables and mushy. There's only one thing better. Guess what it is? Welcome to the Keto Baking Mechanic, where we create, tweak, and enhance keto and low-carb breads and baked goods. Hi, I'm Sherry Mack. You'll always get the recipe link in the description. Be sure to like the recipe. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be informed when I have other videos coming down the pike. The one thing better than keto lasagna made with fathead dough, high saturated fat noodles, or vegetable noodles pretending to be pasta? Yeah, I can only sublimate so much. In any case, how about a keto lasagna with egg noodles with a few functional properties added to the eggs to make them dense and chewy and firm that last over days? They don't get soggy. It's such a great noodle recipe in this lasagna recipe we're doing today. I can't wait to show you. Okay, so we're going to start with our eggs, and we're going to put our eggs into our food processor. So we're going to add 3 ingredients to the eggs to change the texture. So if you just did the eggs alone for your pasta noodles, they would taste like an omelet. So there's a couple of ingredients that we want to add to transform the texture so they're more like dense lasagna noodle texture. So the first is collagen peptides. It also adds nutrition to the recipe, to the noodles. Also, we're going to add whole psyllium husks, xanthan gum, and all of these ingredients bind the eggs together and change the texture to be more chewy than fluffy like an omelet. For flavor, because they still tend to have a little bit of an eggy flavor even with these other ingredients, so I'm going to add some garlic powder and salt just so that sort of masks out the taste of the egg and the noodles. All over pasta, and some good healthy salt. Okay, so we're going to start slowly and then blend these together. Okay, so we are next going to add our mixture to our super large pan. Now, I sprayed this nonstick pan with a lot of avocado oil spray just to make sure that they don't stick. And we're just going to pour this mixture onto the pan. Get as much of that out as we can. You see that it's made the eggs thicker, and we're just going to spread those out as much as we can across the pan.
This video is brought to you by Sinless Sourdough, where ancient art meets low-carb science. I own Sinless Sourdough. I produce a line of global heritage, low-carb, dehydrated sourdough starters. They are authentic sourdough, scientifically validated, and you bring them to life with low-carb ingredients. When you purchase this starter, shipping is included. It's Canadian, $19.99 Canadian, and it's shipped to your door. And then with the starter, you get your you get your starter guide sent to you in the mail, along with a variety of keto low-carb sourdough discard recipes. And it teaches you how to bring it to life so that you can use this every day in your keto low-carb sourdough baking.
Okay, so while our noodles are baking, We're going to add our cottage cheese to our mini blender, or you can also add it to your protein shake blender. See how messy I am? Oh my goodness. And we want to cream up the cottage cheese so it resembles ricotta. I like to go with a 4% fat cottage cheese just because it gives it that much more flavor. Where there's fat, there's flavor. Okay, we'll just add this cottage cheese to a bowl to get it ready for our layering and prep of the lasagna. Okay, our noodles are nice and firm. Look at that. They're nice and firm. They're pretty even as well. So I'm just going to let them cool for a moment, and then we're going to slice them to get them ready to prepare our lasagna. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to just gently lift the noodles a little bit off the pan. You don't want them to break, and then literally tip it over so they come right out. There we have it. Okay, so I'm going to turn them over again, and we are going to slice them. We want them to fit as a whole. I'm going to do like a whole slice because like a whole, instead of long strips and then crisscrossing them, I'm just going to do like a whole slice across the top of each layer, just so that it doesn't break into pieces. So we're going to literally just cut this in half. I love to use my pizza cutter. I'm going to mark it right there. Actually, I have a little bit of a mark. You can see what these other ingredients that are added to the eggs do. It completely firms up the eggs and changes the texture. So they're carnivore noodles, super dirty. You could say carnivore noodles super dirty, or you could say keto noodles because it's more than eggs. It has the other keto ingredients. By the way, all those ingredients do not add any net carbs to the final protein in the eggs. The eggs are 0 carbs, and all of those ingredients are next to 0 carbs, so they add no extra carbs to the final layer. So you're literally getting a lasagna dish with 0 carbs in your noodles. Okay, and I'm going to slice it right where, there we have it. And I'm just going to put that over here so that we can start layering our lasagna. Okay, so well in advance of making the lasagna, you want to prepare your bolognese sauce. So we're just going to put a thin layer of the bolognese sauce on the bottom. And then we're going to add one of our pasta noodles. Now we're going to have to cut it a little bit just so that it fits in. We're going to have a little bit extra. I'm not going to waste this. We're going to use it elsewhere, but we're just going to put that aside for now. And now we're going to do a layer of our cottage cheese. Okay, we're going to use half of the tub of cottage cheese. It's a layer of our bolognese, our meat sauce. More. And in this layer, we're going to add half of the mozzarella. You can layer it any way you like. If you want to do, just the ricotta, or not the ricotta, but the cottage cheese, aka ricotta, throughout, and the mozzarella just on the top. It's your choice, whatever you like. Just use up all the ingredients to make this a really delicious lasagna. So we're going to add our extra layer and cut this off. This is not going to go to waste, these extra little noodles. And I think because they overlapped on that side, I'm going to let them overlap on this side this time. Okay, use the rest of our cottage cheese. Our last layer of meat sauce. Just enough. Okay, so before we add the last layer of cheese, I'm just going to cut these into thin strips. And do maybe like a little crisscross there, just so we don't waste them. That way we can count the protein, because now we've got all the eggs in the dish. And before I add the remainder of the mozzarella, I'm adding some Parmigiano, sprinkling it. And this is what really gives it that lasagna Italian flavor. You can make the sauce and freeze it, and then just have it ready for when you want to do lasagna. You don't have to do all the steps at once. You can make your noodles in the morning, the night before, take the sauce out of the freezer, make the noodles in the morning, and then just before dinner, just put it all together to assemble the lasagna. And lastly, we're going to add our last layer of mozzarella. By the way, I use the shredded mozzarella because I had a car accident and I have a very bad neck, and the action of grating really plays on my neck injury. So for now, until I get better, I am using already shredded mozzarella. And there we have it. I think what I'm going to do is add a little bit of more Italian seasoning to the top. I added Italian seasoning to the meat sauce, but I'm going to add it to the top too, for color, for extra flavor. Okay, just sprinkle that on top. Gives it more color. Look at how messy I am. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it adds extra color and flavor to the whole lasagna, and no salt. If you noticed, other than the noodles, I didn't add salt to anything. And I always look for whatever products I can that are salt-free, like different tomato sauces, if I can get the tomato sauces salt-free. Okay, now it's going in the oven for 30 minutes so it can all meld together. Okay, look at this. Oh my goodness. Look. Oh, it looks so delicious. I cannot wait to try this. Okay, so let's try this baby. First of all, check out all the layers. I already had a couple of bites, but I wanted to show you the layers. Isn't that wonderful? You could serve this with some sinless sourdough, keto low-carb garlic bread. So you have low-carb garlic bread with your homemade keto lasagna with zero-carb noodles. Oh, super high mega protein. What more? Can't even talk. What more could you ask for? Okay, let's try it. Oh man. The noodles give it more substance than if you were to just have the sauce alone. They aren't as dense and as al dente as traditional wheat pasta noodles, but it's there. You're getting all that mega protein and wonderful depth of flavor, tons of umami, which is the fifth taste sensation. Umami is yummy in Japanese, and it stands for roundness and depth of flavor. And that's what we look for in dishes because it's that sense of home, comfort food at its finest.